So now we're going to look at visualizing two numerical variables, and let's look at example 2.12 first, and that is a scatter plot where we have two numerical variables. So you put one on the x-axis and the other on the y-axis. So this data is NBA professional basketball teams, and 30 of them, and they have the revenue in millions and the valuation in millions, and we want a scatter plot for that. So let's go to the Excel file. So here is the data, okay, and let's say we want to plot the valuation in the y-axis and revenue on the x-axis. So when you have revenue in the x-axis, valuation is in the y-axis. So when that is the case, okay, when you have y next, okay, y to the right, x first and then y to the right, then you can highlight both the columns at the same time, and Excel will assume the second column to be the y-axis. So when you highlight two columns, the second column is always the y-axis. So if the y-axis is in the first column and the x-axis is in the second column, then you have to be very careful, because if you in that case also highlight the two columns, then it will take the x values and plot that as the y. So in that case, what you have to do is to first plot only the y, and then you add the x-axis values later on by going into select data. So that way you're sure that the x-axis values are actually plotted in the x-axis. So here, since the y values are in the second column, we can avoid that step by highlighting both the columns and then insert scatter plot. And again, we have several possible options, so we'll select that one. Okay. Now we want to move this chart to sheet 2. So right click, you say move chart to select sheet 2. So it gets moved to sheet 2 right here, and move it to where it belongs. Okay, now let's give some titles. So here this is revenue, okay, this is current value. So now if you examine the scatter plot, then you can see that there is a very pronounced linear association between revenue and the current value. Now if you want to present a visualization of time series data, time series data is when a variable is measured over time, and in the NBA value tab, and we have annual revenues for movie industry from 1995 to 2013. So if you want to plot that over time, and that it will be a time series plot. So time series plot can be plotted as a line graph or as a scatter plot. Either way will work. So if you use a line graph, then you have to go and add the x-axis as those. Okay, so revenue in billions, and this is the year, and here it is. Now we can move this to sheet 2. So right click and you say move chart to sheet 2, and then move, you go to the top, find it, and move it to where it belongs. Now by examining the time series plot, you can tell that there is a steady increase, which in forecasting terminology is called trend. So this is time series plot.